Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, on board. This is your captain speaking, Mzege. I'm with my co-pilot, Mhauza, on our flight today, which is the importance of networking, TM018. As we prepare for our takeoff using runway critical thinking, please fasten your seatbelt, put your seat in the right position, close overhead storages, and be with us on this journey. What do you think, my brother?
Yeah, no, I guess on the check-in mode, I realized that I know very little about networking. I just had an idea. Talking about the destination today. Preparations really help, and they humble you when you realize how little you know.
How little you know, ne?
Yeah, the more you know, the more you get to understand how little you know, and that's very humbling. You know, and I was thinking about that I'm very grateful to, one, be part of this, and two, sharing it with you, you know, and I need to appreciate that. Yeah, that's basically.
Yeah, you've touched a very, very important part, that doing research about our preparation gives you an opportunity to learn new things that you didn't know. For sure. For an example, I didn't know the difference between sub-Saharan and the trans-Saharan trade routes and the definitions.
From the trade block.
Yeah, I didn't know any of that. Not through this one of networking, because networking existed way before internet and all of that, you know. But as you go deeper, then you realize with this world is not the size of your brain, guys. You must make sure that you learn as much as you can in order to, you know, improve the content. Anyway, the roadmap today. Oh yes, we are starting with definition, obviously.
Providing context.
Providing context, of course. Yes. That would be our first point, and then secondly,
importance, attributes, and enablers.
Okay.
Of networking. And then number 3 is practical application, which is historic reference, scenarios, painting, and personal experiences. That's gonna be the heartbeat of our discussion.
Yes.
And then 4, desktop. Right, our desktop, we're just going to bring about 6 books that are tended to this subject.
Yes.
Networking, and what's the common thread amongst the 6 as our nugget for the day or for the destination. And then 5, it's 1 minute pitch. My 1 minute pitch is why it feels difficult, and I'm not suggesting it is difficult or it's easy, but I have a feeling, so I'm talking about the feeling why it feels difficult for many, this thing called networking. And your 1 minute pitch?
My 1 minute pitch is simply about networking and net worth. How those two
come together.
Yeah, come together.
Okay, good. And then 6, take home and announcements, and then
we land.
Yeah, we descend.
We descend and we give you the next flight that would be on our destination. Yeah, so in my view, the definition is very straightforward of networking. Networking for me, it's a platform created to have a smooth exchange of resources, whether in terms of support, in terms of opportunities, in terms of growth, or in terms of personal development, all in that same platform of exchanging every resource that is available in the particular parties that are involved in the communication.
The relationship.
Yes.
Yeah. What I have is that it is a deliberate creation and maintenance of social capital.
Yeah.
Social capital meaning from sociology and economics as well as business management studies. It's basically value that comes from those relationships that we spoke about. So each relationship has a value. A good relation. A good example is that I'm talking about us. we are doing this, and there is a relationship, and there is a value that we extract from each other, you know. And but the networking aspect talks about how do you go and create that. And in this current situation that me and you are in, I'm maintaining it. So the deliberate, so it's not a fluke.
Yeah,
it's a deliberate effort. You make deliberate efforts to go out there so that you can benefit from social capital.
Meaning, Gucci, there's meaningful and strategic relation.
Yeah, and that's from academic perspective, you know. From a social norms and modern interpretation, it's meeting people, you know, for building professional relationships. You know. So similarly, people would say, people who are into the working environment, there's an event and there's an opportunity to network. And people who are in the higher learning institutions, there's an event and there's an opportunity to network. We've been through such things, but no one really taught us specifically how to even extract value and how to even prepare yourself to function normally under such circumstances. By normally, I mean to be more effective, you know, impactful.
Yeah, and going deeper, as you were making an example that we never had an opportunity to learn that networking requires different outfits. You can't wear an outfit on a corporate networking platform, wear the same outfit that you wear in a social auction platform.
Yeah,
the outfits obviously need to differ, but without
you've already stitched it nicely to the importance attributes and enablers.
Yeah.
So what you were saying was really it's a transition to our second point, which talks to the importance of networking. So you might as well continue
with the importance.
Yeah.
Look, what is any other best way to create opportunities except networking? I don't see.
How do you... Okay, firstly, we accept the fact that you need to collaborate to expand your gains.
Definitely.
So meaning alone, it's impossible to achieve what you set yourself up to achieve, right? No man is an island.
No, and
there's no debate about it.
No, that's why there's no debate. No human being knows it all.
Yeah.
Right, so if I need access to your information,
yeah,
the best way for me to have access to that information is to network with you.
Nice one. Maybe let's cushion this importance attributes and enablers with what is not networking. Networking is not a place or a space for being opportunistic or manipulative, right? Yes, people can exercise that, but it's good to know that when you exercise that, you are deliberate. You probably have your own intentions in so doing.
Yeah.
But it's good to know that if you have to be authentic and genuine, to also, depending on your personality, of course, if your values are structured around authenticity and being genuine, right? Fair, you've got a reasonable level or balance of fairness, right? So in that way, you will do them, or you will deliberately build social capital with such values, right? Are
you suggesting that in networking there are levels? Like, for an example, there's selfish networking, there is modest networking, there is different types. With your example, yeah. I want to make sure I understand.
It's a good pitch that you are bringing in terms of description, right? I was saying what I believe is not.
Okay. Yeah.
I believe it must be done with authenticity, right?
Yeah, the intention.
Let's say a politician, right? I wanna go to because politics really brings the negative or the beast in us, in all of us, the political side. How do you? Here's what. Can you qualify what I'm saying?
Yes.
how do you deal with criminals as a private investigator if you don't have a criminal mind?
Yeah, you send a thief to catch a thief. It's
got gray areas and a thin line to understand what it. That's why Jordan Peterson would say it's important, and in particular for male, masculine figures, to be dangerous enough to choose not to be dangerous, but to be the opposite. Because when you become humble and being considerate, but you are dangerous, and you know you are dangerous, but you choose to be more humble, more considerate.
Power right there.
That's power, exactly.
That's power.
That's too much power.
Not every human being can do that.
Yeah, no, it's not easily achievable.
No,
it's not easily achievable.
You know, it's similar. That power is similar to being comfortable with capital and resources, but still be humble.
Yes. There's greatness in that.
Hey,
absolute
I'm
greatness.
obsessed with that power.
Yeah, no, it's a good vision for one to set to achieve.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
But coming back to the stem,
yes.
Is that choosing to be authentic in your networking approach is absolute. But at least know how to be manipulated. Maybe let me put it right. What is being manipulative looks like?
You mean manipulative strategies that are modest and fair?
Yeah. Manipulative, con artist, being a typical liar, and understand how lies are formed and constructed. Right? That you can also do, that you can if you want to, but you choose not to. Because if people will come and network with you and wear a sheepskin, it must be easy to spot them.
Yeah.
Because if you think the world is a bed of roses, you'll have a serious problem with wolves, right? So in networking, there are wolves, because you could approach some people for social capital, only to find that they are wolves. They are looking at you and your benefits. You have more to offer than they have to offer you.
Yeah, therefore you've just raised something else that's very important, which goes back to sharpening your own skill while you are in the networking process. You also need to have a very strong sense of smell.
That's what I'm saying. It's important.
It's important to identify.
Yeah, that's why the Bible is very good in expressing evil and defining it. That you don't get mistaken. You don't get confused.
They are very intentional about clarifying.
So that when you know bad, to apply good becomes easy. Because you are avoiding this. All you do, when you do good, you just avoid this.
When you know what not to do, then it's easier to do
what you need to
do. Yeah, yes. It's easier.
Pretty much. So I like how we've crafted this. But coming back to the attributes, because I wanted us to cushion the attributes and this thing, to say we are not naive not to know what you can network with wrong intentions.
Yeah, good or bad intentions.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes, and
I wanted to stitch you back into your attributes. What do you think the attributes are? I've got 3 dimensions of networking.
Okay.
I've crafted them so that firstly they needed to make sense to me. I know what in the networking as a physical, psychological space.
Yes.
Right? There's formal and informal as a dimension 1. You can network formally. Everyone goes into a particular space knowing that there's a networking opportunity. You go to a conference, mostly
you listen to speeches.
Yes, after speeches, when there's lunch and what. People know it's time to network.
Yes.
It's like it's awkward bio for me. It's like scheduling an intimate session with your wife. What 2 o'clock is the hour. It becomes so awkward. But if you don't schedule it, it's not gonna happen.
When it's spontaneous, it's more enjoyable. It's more enjoyable.
But not everything needs to be spontaneous.
Yeah, there has to be balance. There has to be a balance. I guess the principle of order in moderation works better.
Yeah.
when it catches you unprepared, then you know, Uti, I had a plan anyway.
And if you are used to be structured in timing, when it's informal, you will tap into your knowledge, right?
Yes.
And be able to
navigate yourself.
Yeah.
And even though you are not prepared, but the navigation will be of a bigger assistance.
And then there's networking that deals with a range of time. I didn't think I had this, but yes, it came out nicely. The range of time, it's about short and long interactions, right?
Yeah, that's where you choose your words very carefully and correctly.
With long interaction, it's easy to build a rapport.
Yeah.
Let's say, for an example, we go to the same school, same university, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we are very conscious as first year, second year, third year students that this area or this space that we're in offers future prospects for social capital, right? So you're conscious, you make deliberate friends. So you don't have this coincidental type of friendship that we had. Most of my friendship that I had, it was coincidental, and I do appreciate them, by the way, nonetheless. But imagine if I was deliberate to say, hey, that boy, Dr. Zbani, and he's well connected.
Yeah.
So beyond this stage that we are in at tertiary, this man must be my friend.
Yeah. For the greater good.
That's important.
And it's so unfair that when you speak about these realities direct, people get hurt. Not all, some people get hurt.
It's okay.
It's okay. What we are trying to do is we want the uncomfortable to be seen as an opportunity of comfort.
Thank you. And we are on runway critical
thinking.
That's it.
Which is part of the making.
It's the ability to be aware and be deliberate about what you are doing.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with being intentional about a reality of the situation.
Yeah, no, you make friends deliberately because remember we said you create and maintain for the sake of social capital. So in maintenance, now you want to fake it until you master it. Hospitality, part of maintenance of relationship.
Look, let's be realistic about your examples. It's very interesting. The Jews are not in power right now because they were not aware of this, they were not doing it, or they were doing it under carpet. No, they were doing it deliberately and intentionally, and it's known throughout the world that when you deal with Jews, what's important is resources. When they know that they are able to exchange resources amongst themselves, intentionally and deliberately so.
It's a closed loop networking. Let's call it that. Not an open loop.
It's not an open loop, it's a closed loop. But then they ask each other those difficult questions, which what do you do? How can this alliance benefit us?
Yeah.
It's something.
What value are you adding?
It's a primary
it's
form
a universal principle.
Look, to them it's standard.
That's why it's important to raise these issues amongst us. That's why it's important to have these discussions.
Do you think Maramai people are ready for?
No, look, I was not ready, but I am ready. So it means at some point.
At some point.
Yeah. So it's either we're going to stimulate or reassure. You could be sitting here and thinking, I was thinking about this, but then we are reassuring. Yes. That's how you need to think about it. And if you are not thinking about it, then we think we are stimulating you to then start looking at things differently, which is part of our job.
And what's the worst that would happen if you had to be intentional like that?
I mean, really.
Really?
Yeah. Let's not be modest and shy away from the fact that there are things that are done deliberately. And there are people who have lived long before us that were deliberate and they have achieved goodness in being deliberate.
Yes.
So you don't live your life from coincidences.
Yeah, and you see, when you live on coincidences, you are delaying the progression.
Generational.
And then it becomes generational because you're gonna your kids, they absorb what they see from their parents. They absorb everything.
What they're exposed to.
Yeah, they absorb, yes. Hey, nice choice of words. Children absorb everything that they're exposed to. So if you are going to be either a parent or a sister or a brother or a figure that is in a platform of transferring knowledge, you can't be transferring knowledge of modesty when it's not necessary.
Yes.
Because now you are planting a seed of failure.
Talking about that, you had something very interesting to share about the historic references.
Yes. If you look at the reality of a historic reference that I chose today, the anti-apartheid movement,
yes,
they used local, national, provincial, regional, international platforms,
which is the third,
to put pressure.
Sorry, you want to continue there? Which was the third dimension? Remember, I talked about informal and informal. I spoke about the short and long intention, long and short. We digress, but anyway, just to conclude so that you can continue with your references.
Yes.
Is the third one. It's at what level are you networking? At a local level, at an international level. That was one aspect that I needed to add in my third dimension.
Thank you.
So
thank you for raising that.
Yeah.
And
take it up.
This was before internet.
Okay.
Right? And the strategies they used local for networking were different from the strategies that they used internationally. But anyway, they managed to use networking as a tool to fight against the apartheid regime, and the results were good because the awareness was enough. If they did not use networking as a tool to achieve or to get to their goal, they wouldn't have achieved it without networking. That's how important networking is. That networking,
that's at a global, at an international level.
The networking, in my view, it allows you to use what you have to get what you don't have. Whatever legal resources available. I mean, let's look at the networking they use. They didn't have capital to fight the apartheid regime, right? They did not have the right education system. They did not have, they were under colonialism. There was a lot of factors. Religion, they were detached from their culture. They were infiltrated to divide themselves. Internal
politic dynamics.
Yeah, there was a lot happening. But because of networking, networking tools kept them going and to achieve their goal. Without the networking, they wouldn't have achieved their goal.
Can I challenge me and you, like on this? It just came now, I'm realizing with this thing, it's powerful than I thought it was before we went in action.
Okay.
Right? This thing is very powerful. I want us in future. It's a manifestation that I'm bringing now.
Okay.
It just came.
Bring it on.
I want us to co-write a book about networking, but it's going to require me and you to first experience it firsthand and develop a blueprint. So it's going to force us to come out of this shell that we came in before we started this episode. Right? So it means me and you are going to be very deliberate after this episode with networking.
Yeah.
I get that feeling. Right? Which is more serious than ever before. So much that we're going to create even methods and techniques, right? That we're going to test them. As and when personal. As and when they fail and work, we're going to script them and generalize them.
Yeah.
So that we can then take that journal and bring it into a book for our market.
So that we can educate masses with our personal experiences. I love the idea. I'm going to bring it on. I love the challenge.
That's the challenge and the manifestation.
Yeah, challenge, manifestation.
Yeah.
You are the witness.
Yeah.
You are the witness.
Write the date.
Yeah. And in addition to the historical local reference,
yes,
I also want to make another regional reference that is also historical. You have the sub-Saharan trade that was already happening before the Europeans came to Africa.
Okay.
There was already an exchange of trade, the cows, the salt, the gold, yes, indigenous. There was already an internal trade, right? That's the sub-Saharan, below the desert, which is in the north of Africa, coast to coast, which connects the west part of North Africa, northwest, and the northeast. That's the Saharan desert, right? And then you get the north of Africa.
Central.
Not central, the north of Africa. You're
Pass.
above.
Republic of Congo.
Above the Saharan desert. Right. So with the internal trade that was happening, this is a long time ago, right? With that internal trade, it was not enough. They wanted more. So
Mansa Musa's time.
That's where Mali Mansa Musa connected the sub-Saharan, which is the south, below the desert, connected the south.
Below Namibia.
Below. So Mali, Mansa Musa was the richest because he connected the trade of the south with the north, linking it to the east, Middle East. So the north was trading direct with the Middle East, but without the resources of the south, because the desert was the stumbling block, which is from coast to coast.
But you triggered a lot in my mind. Should I
Let me finish with the story, just in the last punchline. So I've always asked myself, how did Mansa Musa become so rich at that time? But then I understand that he used trans-Saharan route operation, which means he was managing the bridge between the sub-Saharan, which is the south of Africa below the desert, and the north, and the Middle East.
The east and Middle East towards Bokenya.
No, Middle East. When I say Middle East, I mean out of Africa.
Or Middle East.
Middle East. Outside of your Arabs.
On the other side of Nile.
All Arabs.
Yes.
So
Greece and them.
So the Arabs wanted these resources.
Persians then.
Yes, they wanted these resources, but nobody was connecting. The desert was such a vast, hot, non-productive land. And no one was brave enough to create routes which, I can go through these deserts with these resources, give them to those so that they can give them to the other ones. Because the relation between the Middle East and the North Africa was already good.
Existing,
So he was not starting a new relationship from scratch with the Middle East.
Like Alexander the Great's time.
So eventually, the Middle East felt the need to maximize the trade with Africa because of Mansa Musa's trans-Saharan route map.
You are on point. I think, what I wanted to say rather is at some point we'll need to have a trading block that's called Mansa Musa trading block. It will be specific and particular. You just stimulated that in my mind. I felt, imagine if we can have a trade block named after that man, so that the sentiments and the historic value can be psychologically, emotionally retained.
It would be very, very,
so that politics would find so much depth in making sure that trade works and generationally. I understand? Because of that name.
Look, Mausa, you don't know what you're doing to my head right now.
You don't know what you did.
We are so passionate about service delivery, kind of leadership, and the consistent management of everything: resources, mental power, human behavior, the psychology, the what's this word? It's got to do with psychology. We always use the word. It's got to do with psychology. It will come back. But anyway, therefore, it means the exchange of trade that was used then, resources that was used then. We are going back to the old rules. We want to bridge. There's troubled waters between the existing leadership and the existing generation. there's troubled waters in between. Right? And we are in the making of finding best solution to create awareness. So I think let's make it our responsibility to build a bridge over these troubled waters between the leadership.
No, it just reminds me when we first conceptualized, before we even landed on what we are doing now. You remember we went through a series of discussions.
Yeah.
And part of it was Africa. And part of it was networking.
Yes.
I remember that.
I remember very well.
Without
very well.
Unveiling much around it, is that we had an aspiration at our level to cut across business-wise.
Yes.
How do we connect?
How do we connect
without relying on politics?
Yeah, we made peace that we can't put all the blame on politics without doing anything.
Create our own channels.
Let's create our own channels and then
build our own
open
networks.
new networks.
So those networks, God forbid, they are going to be Mansa Musa networks, African trading blocks.
Yeah, we have a name already.
Yeah.
We have a name already.
Come back to this.
We're gonna come back to this episode after we've done.
I know that we have reached the altitude, right?
Yeah.
Just to manage that, there are practical experiences that we had. I will tell you why I'm bringing the practical experiences. There's what I knew about networking, or the ideas I had about networking, and the ideas that have been magnified or amplified now that I've went through this exercise. Practically, in recent times, I stumbled or fumbled or had difficulties with the networking. You get my point.
Yeah.
And in this way, in some areas I did challenge myself. In the higher learning institutions, I could start a interest or bring about an interest to go to specific groups that typically I wouldn't go to, and start getting to know them. But what I failed to do mostly is to maintain. So I didn't have the idea of that these things just don't, because someone knows you doesn't necessarily mean it's the kind.
It's an obvious, the puzzle just falls into place.
Everything is done. So there's maintenance. Now that I know there's maintenance in a deliberate manner, it will be a different ball game moving forward. But relationships or this kind of relationship must be maintained. The question is now, how do you maintain it? And what has been your experience in creating and maintaining these relationships, or these types of relationship that has to do with networking for social capital?
You know what, you are raising a very, very important point. To add on your point is also the ability to communicate and the choice of communication that must be used.
That's the attribute.
The attributes are also very, very, very important. You know, there is a
set of skills.
Yeah,
communication, confidence.
Yeah, networking is not
knowledgeable.
It's not an independent entity. It comes with a lot of other things, because
it defines an ecosystem.
Look, you can't network if you are not a communicator. You can't try to network and say two words and keep quiet and expect things to fall into place. No.
Done.
Communication is the key trait of networking.
And good communication for that matter. Listening skills.
Listening is an important trait.
And being knowledgeable.
Look, you have to be informed when you want to network. You have to be informed. There's no other way. You need to be very, 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 very informed when you network, because
when you expose yourself.
Networking on its own, it's got its own shortcomings. It's got its own advantages and disadvantages, because not everyone in the networking space is there for good intentions and modesty and fairness. Because as you said earlier, as you said earlier, that some people go into networking space for their own selfish personal gains.
Yeah.
You know, they are not doing
narrow
it for
interest.
Yes. Now, if we had to take it to a step further, let's look at how networking can benefit us. I'm now being intentional. How can networking benefit us socially for our as Black South Africans?
Yeah, look, in the social capital aspects, there's exchange of resources, knowledge, information, you know, and contacts, right? And then that can be done for social structure, right? And then that also can be done for business structure or economic structure, right?
Okay.
Social structures that I'm in trouble with. Maybe the government, they want this, or they are mistaking my situation for this and this. In my network, I must have someone who's probably legally orientated, or who's a police officer that can help me resolve the issue, give me advice, or intervene.
Yes.
Right? That's on a social set, social structure, right? You need to get something for your kids. Someone will say, I know there's a better school, or there's better this, for go this way, go that way. So if you belong to the right network, you will never struggle to get things you don't have an idea about, because someone it's 10 digits away for you to resolve your problems. In a business or economic structure, it's then expanding your business, right? It's entry to markets, it's the ability to have substantive revenue, you know, and other tools that will help your business to grow or to sustain your business. So from the economic and from a social sense, there's benefits that you must be mindful of. That's belonging into the right network.
So in essence, we need to sharpen our networking strategies and skills.
I mean, I think the easiest thing is to establish networks. The most difficult thing is to sustain them and maintain them. Because it could be an overreach where you are doing more than you're supposed to do, or maintaining relationships that are not deserving of being maintained. So it's a skill that you would tend to advance in as you expose yourself into these things.
Can I ask you a question, just out of curiosity? How would you personally deal with, or what would you advise someone, you know, maybe someone like me, Wuti, how would you deal with rejection in a networking space where you are making all the efforts, all the necessary strategies that are needed, but in that very same space that you need, you are being rejected?
You know, fortunately, after the books that I have read, the recent one being the negotiate, like it depends on your life or something like that, to Chris Voss. Never split the difference. Shout out to my nephew Ndlandla, bought me that book on my birthday. So the rejection, it's part and parcel of growth. So you must trigger it, then what you trigger no. So be careful of the yes, and trigger the no's.
Okay, and why? What's the reason behind it?
Okay, in negotiations, as they say, is that you want to make people be comfortable with their position of saying no, they should not be restrained.
Oh, okay.
Right? So that you can work on that, because no's gives you a direction and they give you information. Because when someone says no's, then you have a right to give all these calibrated questions. Right? As to why do you suggest or do you feel that you are not in line with this? So no know you. Then as they answer why, so if you are smart enough, when you get rejection, find a way, sometimes not deliberate, to understand why. So that when you go to the next person, you have already sharpened
that skill.
The
opportunity that comes with the rejection.
Yeah, maybe let me put it this way. For every rejection, there's information for you to know in order to prevent
it from happening again.
Yes.
Okay.
So rejection is powerful.
I fully agree with you on that one, because based on my personal experiences, when I was still trying to enter in that space of making deals with Department of Human Settlement and all of those things, you remember that era?
Yeah.
There was a lot of rejection because there were people already who were
established relationships,
who had established strong,
deeply rooted relationships. When you want to penetrate,
and I wanted to penetrate those.
Interesting.
Then I realized, Uguti, I don't know where the thought came from, but it just happened. Uguti, I'm in a space of rejection, and I felt like, no man, this situation is a situation I must treat it like
yeah.
A woman with principles and who knows their story and who knows what they want and what they don't want.
Yeah.
Will reject you if you are not giving them what they want. That rejection,
they're not convinced.
Yeah, that rejection is a reminder to you of what needs to be done.
So, in essence, people are always open to expand their networks. However, they are particular. That's what you are saying.
Yes, it's not the reaction after the rejection. It's the response after the rejection that counts more, because response is a thought process. If you're going to convert this rejection to a platform of opportunity, no man, I must find a way to create interest.
Yeah.
Let me try a different strategy of creating interest. Let me try the morality route. Let me try the humor route. Like your mind starts working. So back to my example, Wuti, that experience taught me that was the initiation of understanding rejection to be a good thing. And luckily, not bigger fruits came out of that, but something came out of the thought process that came after the rejection. So if you are rejected, please do not take the first no. Find ways to see the rejection as an opportunity. Yeah. In simple terms.
Look, if anything, read in what they got Chris Voss. And
how do you spell the Voss?
VOSS, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never heard of him, but
is a former, I think, FBI private investigator and also a lecturer.
Also, he's an American writer.
He's a negotiator and started writing about his experiences.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. But the subject that we are talking, I find it very powerful, like in real time. It's not like after we say we are done and then I'll be at home and thinking about it, that was great. This in real time, it's very great and very informative, and I'm finding it giving me so much value.
Speaking of negotiator, sorry to cut you off. There is a movie, it's an old movie by Samuel Jackson and Kevin Spacey. It's called The Negotiator. There is one part in the movie where it teaches you the power of rejection and the opportunities that come with rejection.
Yeah.
Now, Samuel Jackson is a top cop who is now framed, and he holds people hostage in order to get an opportunity to have a platform to speak his truth. Now they bring in the negotiator. The negotiator is Kevin Spacey. Whoever was negotiating at a low level before Kevin Spacey came in was not winning because Samuel Jackson was above, way advanced.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey came into that space with an mentality of rejection.
Yeah. Yeah.
So his rejection the demands of the real person who's making demands. And psychologically, he could not understand why is this guy rejecting me as if I'm nothing, whereas he's here to negotiate. That mind twist gave him power over. Hey, you must watch that movie.
I guess it comes back to what I was saying, what to trigger the no and be comfortable with it. And there's more interesting stuff about negotiating in this book. Maybe to give one last bit because of time. It's the Black Swan. The company's company is called the Black Swan. He called it the Black Swan because the Black Swan are the things that you don't know that you need to know in a negotiation or in a relationship. So you must always find them. They're not easy to find. So when I want something from you, I must either know your religious orientation.
I must know something.
So those are Black Swans. Those are Black Swans.
Yeah.
So if I get my good Black Swans, it's easy for me to then win you over, then to avoid rejection. So, but for the sake of time, I see where this is going. Let's go to the desktop.
Yes.
The 6 books that talks about negotiations and common thread amongst them. The first one is
these are books which would help with networking and with the subject matter.
Yeah. So there's Never Eat Alone.
Okay.
I've heard about this book, but I haven't read it. Keith Ferrazzi. So
the title is very catchy.
Yeah, Never Eat Alone. It's very powerful. It's a very powerful. Already tells you what this is all about. So the practical meaning there, or the essence, in summary.
To take a screenshot.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna give it to this. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'll send it to you. It's the networking as a generosity and consistent engagement. Listen to that. Generosity must be generous.
Yeah.
And consistent engagement. That's maintenance. Remember, I told you it's one thing to trigger relationships.
Yeah, but maintaining them is another challenge.
And then how to win friends. I've read this one. How to win friends and influence people. So one of my team members saw this book because I would take it to work. So prepare money people. So
they had two preparation. Would you go to that level?
Shout out to Muhe. Yes. If you will ever come across this thing. So yeah, it's Dale Carnegie, beautiful book. It's genuine interest in others builds lasting networks. So you must first consider the interest of others before yours.
Before yours.
Yeah, that's the essence.
Yeah.
And then go on give and take. Adam Grant.
I've heard about that one, but I haven't read it.
Yeah. Successful networks are built on contribution, not extraction. What? You whippy.
What do you get?
Yeah, whippy. And then the tipping point. Tipping point, it's Malcolm Gladwell, right? The author. Certain individuals naturally preach networks. Certain individuals. So, but it makes it sound like they're special people. So be careful of that. We are all special in our own right.
In our own way.
Yeah. Lean in, Usheli Senbeck, right? Mentorship and sponsorship as career acceleration.
Oh, okay.
Right? And then Shoe Dog, Ufil Night, essence, its network evolved through shared struggles and vision.
Okay.
And then one of my favorites, long not
okay, that one I read.
Networking as a collusion building for collective
collective purpose.
Yes. So the common thread there. What did you pick up as a common thread?
Networking.
Yeah, no, around networking.
Around networking is the importance of consistency.
Yeah.
Once you've initiated the network.
Yeah, it has a lot to do.
Yeah, the what's the post?
Yeah.
Post action or post efforts.
Yeah.
After initiating the networking.
It's in certain there's deliberate things that must be done.
Yeah.
Common thread. right?
Okay.
And there must be contributions. Whether reciprocity.
Reciprocity.
Yes.
Reciprocity.
Yes.
Reciprocity.
To reciprocate.
Yeah.
And then long-term vision with others. That's the common thread.
Okay.
So we brought this with dystopia to so that we can say what is the international world and the expert saying more over and above our experiences and the theoretical understanding of this thing called networking, which is a beautiful thing. You know, it's coexisting. Networking is pure coexisting, and with deliberate efforts for social capital, which is benefits that comes with it. You know.
Yeah. Therefore, it's important to know which things cannot coexist.
Yes, that's very beautiful.
As you are polishing your networking skills.
It's an ecosystem.
Yeah. On its own.
Yeah. So let's go to 1 minute pitch.
Yes. You can go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, why do I feel this is difficult?
Please do the timing.
Yeah, of course. I forget the most important thing is to time my 1 minute. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, start.
Why do I feel this is a difficult thing to do is that traditionally or generally is that it is presented as something very simple. Just meet and greet, talk to people, and opportunities will come. It's not like that. The truth behind it is that what makes us uncomfortable is that we don't have the skills. We are not taught about how to do this thing. There's no school, there's no university. It's so much similar. That's why men do better in networking than women, because we then have to secure relationships with women, and we secure it with multiple women. So we get to a variety of disinterest and interest, and it teaches us how to then secure this thing better. So the difficulty of it is that we don't have prior learning or lessons about it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm ready, you can start the time.
Let's go.
In my view, networking determines the net worth. I'll tell you why I say that. It's because networking is a collaboration that drives innovation. Historically and even today, individuals, societies, businesses have succeeded because of the importance of networking. Better relationships, better stories to tell that we can make reference to historically and today are a reference of networking. So it is very, 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 very important to understand that networking will determine your net worth at the end of the day.
Thank you. So that's basically it. And what's your take home?
My take home is that I need to magnify my self-awareness on the importance of proximity. I need to make sure that my proximity improves. I must make one phone call if I have any challenge, and then at least I have information on how to solve the problem. So I'm going to make emphasis on proximity to be very, very, very solid. That's my take home. And then the last one, between my potential that I have naturally so and the progress or the achievements I want, I need to bridge those two with the improvement of my first point. By maximizing proximity, I am getting closer. I'm bringing together what I have, what I'm born with, and with what I want to achieve in life. That's my take home.
No, not yet. Yeah, And apologies, man. As you were talking, I just spaced out thinking of my take home, you know. But I got the sense of what your take home is. You know, you just want to expand your network for your net gain.
Yes.
So mine, it's very practical and sensible. My take home, I'm realizing that there are things that I haven't been got an opportunity to do them right. Maybe I had an opportunity, but I haven't placed deliberate efforts in doing them right, which is managing or maintaining rather my network, right, or people or relationships that belong to my network. I think I've developed myself enough to be a valuable individual, so there's nothing for me to be skeptical about. Right, I've got a lot to offer, so as such, availing myself to others should not come with any form of doubt. So with that said, it's simple. First thing that we'll do is to make deliberate attempts to initiate and to maintain. So there are relationships in different levels, not only in business. There are relationships that I have in social structures that I could start working on, that will give me the courage and the tools and the structure and the right techniques to do the management easy with very little efforts. You know, and it's to understand what does it take to get people to remember you. What is it that you need to do for people to remember?
Can I answer that very quick and straightforward?
Yeah.
People always remember how you make them feel.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's it.
So what would be, I think we must do a giveaway. I need to have a take home. Let's do a giveaway. Yeah, for an example, out of curiosity, what would be your giveaway on this topic?
Yeah, no, look, for you to get value out of this thing, you must work on yourself to be valuable.
Yeah, my giveaway would be emphasis on the reality that if Africans were trading way longer before the Europeans came to our continent, and the Africans were able to do the, I call it IAEI, that is Internal African Economic Integration. If the IAEI existed way before the Europeans came, my giveaway would be, let's go back to that. Let's try and
Back to the roots.
Let's go back to the roots and connect with each other. Meaningfully so, yes. Yeah. That would be my giveaway.
Yeah, no. With time, let's start with us. We have a book to write about networking. I don't know the subject matter. Anyway.
Yeah, that would be a very interesting. The next flight, which is TM019, is what is Black Agenda and what should it look like? I know this one.
Amandla. Aye, Baba Mamela.
This one gives you goosebumps.
What is Black Agenda and what should it
look like?
Yeah.
Yes.
What is Black Agenda? What should it look like?
That is our next flight, and hopefully you will enjoy that flight with us as you have enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
We are preparing for our landing, ladies and gentlemen. Please fasten your seatbelt, put your seats upright, and close your overhead stowage as we are landing into the destination of independent thinking. And siyayivala manje.
Yeah, no, Bella. We've come to episode 18. It has been a nice journey. There's still a long way to go. The plans are big. We are just
very big plans.
We are just still on the, what do you call when you pull the flight out before it goes?
We are taxiing to the runway.
Yeah, we are taxiing to the runway. That is the situation or the stage that we are still in. So for you to propel us to take off, we will do the pressing of the buttons, the notifications, the subscription, the following in all social media platforms. That will give us enough fuel.
Yes.
Yeah, for our engine to take us into the right altitude. With that said, Vala City King.
Danko.
Yeah, standing giveaway. It was about building yourself enough to offer value. Right?
To others, yeah.
Yeah, and then you wanted to come in, I'm not sure with what.
Oh, I wanted to come in as a giveaway. So we must find a way to...
I just, I'm sorry.
Oh, when was I trim?
Yeah.
Yeah, my giveaway would be emphasis on the reality that if Africans were trading way longer before the Europeans came to our continent, and the Africans were able to do the, I call it IAEI, that is Internal African Economic Integration. If the IAEI existed way before the Europeans came, my giveaway would be, let's go back to that. Let's try and
back to the roots.
Let's go back to the roots and connect with each other. Meaningfully so, yes. Yeah. That would be my giveaway.
Yeah, no. With time, let's start with us. We have a book to write about networking. I don't know the subject matter. Anyway.
Yeah, anyway, that would be a very interesting. The next flight, which is TM019, is what is Black Agenda and what should it look like? I know this one.
Amandla. Aye, Baba Mamela.
This one gives you goosebumps.
What is Black Agenda and what should it
look like?
Yeah.
Yes.
What is Black Agenda? What should it look like?
That is our next flight, and hopefully you will enjoy that flight with us as you have enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
We are preparing for our landing, ladies and gentlemen. Please fasten your seatbelt, put your seats upright, and close your overhead stowage as we are landing into the destination of independent thinking. And siyayivala manje.
Yeah, no, Pega. We've come to episode 18. It has been a nice journey. There's still a long way to go. The plans are big. We are just
very big plans.
We are just still on the, what do you call when you pull the flight out before it goes?
We are taxiing to the runway.
Yeah, we are taxiing to the runway. That is the situation or the stage that we are still in. So for you to propel us to take off, we will do the pressing of the buttons, the notifications, the subscription, the following in all social media platforms. That will give us enough fuel.
Yes.
Yeah, for our engine to take us into the right attitude. With that said, Vala City King.
Danko.